Good evening, parents and guardians. I am so thrilled that you are able to join us today. After all, this is all about you and how to nurture. You do so much for everyone else, and this webinar is to help give you tools and guidance on how to do something for you at times. It seems like you guys are always doing something for everyone else, so this is a great opportunity to learn a little bit on what you can do for yourself. All right, so before we begin, I'd like to introduce myself and a few other amazing school counselors in our district today. My name is Lorena Salter, and I'm the school counselor at Don Juan and Villa Middle School, and I'm your MC for the night.
Buenas noches. Esta presentación es para todos los padres sobre nutrir a la persona que nutre. Ahorita los que necesitan interpretación en español, por favor oprimen el globo a la parte de abajo de la pantalla para poder entrar al cuarto de interpretación y ahí pueden oír la presentación en español. Gracias.
Hi, my name is Lauren Reed, and I am the school counselor at Hankey K-8.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brianna Ganger, and I'm the school counselor at Bathgate Elementary and Palisades Elementary.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Long. I'm school counselor at Don Juan Avila Elementary School and Wagon Wheel Elementary School.
Hi, everyone. My name is Trisha Calkins. I'm the counselor at Ambule and Bergeson Elementary.
All right, thank you so much. So let's review a few objectives. And what that really means is what we hope for you to learn today before leaving the webinar. So 1, recognize signs and symptoms of stress. 2, identify strategies for parent self-care. 3, practice a deep breathing exercise. And then 4, identify resources and supports. All right, so I'm going to walk you through one of the most common exercises to help you stay in the moment or refocused. I'm sure that can get very difficult and pretty chaotic when there's kids involved and you're working and you're busy. So this is a great exercise for you to utilize. You can use it when you're at home, you can use it when you're at work, you can do it while sitting down, standing up. So that's the beauty of the grounding exercise. So we recenter by focusing on utilizing our 5 senses. So that's hearing, sight, touch, smell, and taste. So let's start by sitting up straight in your chair, couch, or from wherever you're at right now. Your feet should be planted on the ground with your hands on your lap. Marlene, are you interpreting this part? Okay, sorry, thank you. So back straight as we begin our brief grounding exercise. Take a deep breath in and now let it out. Focus on 5 things that you can hear. Maybe you hear footsteps around the house. Maybe you hear a car passing by. So once you've heard about 5 different things, go ahead and open your eyes. And now I want you to focus on 4 objects near you. Maybe it's a poster on the wall or a picture frame that you just bought, or your couch or TV, whatever that may be. But gaze your eyes on 4 different objects near you. All right, so for this part, I'd like for you to now close your eyes once again and focus on 3 things you can feel. And what I mean by that is really focus on your body. Maybe you can feel your shorts or your jeans pressing against your skin. Maybe you can feel your watch pressing against your wrist. Maybe your hair against your back. All right, so this part you can open your eyes again. And what I would like for you to do is Whether you're sitting down or if you'd like to stand up and walk around your room, I'd like for you to sniff out 2 different smells in the room. I can smell the chicken that I cooked earlier. Maybe you smell the cleaning supplies. You worked really hard cleaning all day. Whatever that might be. All right. Lastly, what can you taste? I know this sounds really bizarre, and a lot of students give me a deer in the headlights look when I ask them to do this part. So what can you taste? Maybe you can taste the breakfast you had this morning or the lunch you had. Maybe it's the avocado you taste from the avocado toast you had this morning. All right, take one deep breath in. Now let it out. I hope you feel a bit more recentered and present from when we first began this exercise. Thank you.
Okay, yes. So let's talk about some questions that arise when we start to discuss self-care. So people might ask, what is self-care? And self-care is any action you do to improve your health, both your mental health, your physical health. And according to the National Alliance of Mental Illness, all self-care habits can be categorized as physical, psychological, emotional, spiritual, social, or professional. And practicing self-care are habits that keep us healthy and feeling good over time. So self-care helps you feel your best so you could do and be your best. And self-care helps us prevent burnout. So another question is, why is self-care important? Well, for one, self-care and mental health are connected. Neglecting one can have a negative impact on the other. 2, any type of illness impacts our ability to meet our responsibilities, both personal and professional. 3, making time for and practicing self-care actually makes you better able to fulfill your duties. 4, modeling self-care and resilience during challenging times is critical for our children to see. And 5, self-care can have the same effects in maintaining your child's mental and physical health, just as it does for you. You might ask, why does self-care seem impossible? Well, if it seems impossible, you might have the wrong definition of self-care. Sometimes self-care is confused with self-improvement. And we think that it requires peace, happiness, and beauty. Another myth is that self-care is selfish, but it isn't selfish. We're victims of all or nothing thinking. Practicing self-care improves our ability to care for others. We can't afford self-care. That's another myth. The more expensive, the more better it works, but not necessarily. Fancy, trendy, and expensive are not required for true self-care. And we don't realize when we need self-care. We might have the push through it or overcome the weakness mentality. But we have to pay attention to our bodies and our feelings so we're not impaired and we can do for others as much as we do for ourselves. Let's talk a little bit about the types of stress. Stress isn't inherently bad. In fact, eustress is a positive form of stress having a beneficial effect on health, motivation, performance, and emotional well-being. When stress levels rise or coping strategies decrease, then a person may begin to feel distressed. We should also talk about the risk and protective factors. So each person has a different threshold for stress, and that threshold is not fixed. feeling overwhelmed by stress can vary based on changes in risk factors and protective factors. So to define, risk factors are characteristics at the biological, psychological, familial, community, or cultural level that precede and are associated with a higher likelihood of negative outcomes. Protective factors are those characteristics associated with a lower likelihood of negative outcomes, or that reduce the risk factors impact. So to the left, you could see some examples of risk factors. If we could just go back one slide. So some examples of risk factors might be financial difficulties. That could create stress, of course. Chronic illness, not only for yourself or for your loved ones, for your family members, for your friends. If there's a history of trauma, that could be a risk factor. And if there's lack of social support, you don't have anybody who's able to support you and help you in the time that you need it. So some examples of protected factors are social supports, such as having friends, having family that you could go to. Having access to healthcare, of course. Those that don't have healthcare through an employer, perhaps having healthcare through a community agency, through a county, or through the state. Gratitude mindset. Having and using techniques where we demonstrate gratitude can be a protective factor. And then being a part of a faith community or engaged in spirituality can be a protective factor. So at this time, I'm going to pass it off to my colleague, Brianna Ganger, who's going to discuss the signs of distress and burnout.
Thanks, Stephen. All right, guys. So we're going to kind of talk about the different areas where you can see some signs that you are feeling burnt out. Okay, and this is when burnout and distress is when we've moved past our normal kind of healthy levels of stress into something more serious and unhealthy. So some physical signs is changes in sleep. You might be sleeping more. You could be having trouble falling asleep, waking up in the night. Other physical changes are headaches, feeling nauseous, clenching your teeth. You might not be aware. It might happen in the night, right? And you wake up and your jaw is sore. There's also some signs are reduced libido, irregular or missed periods, fatigue, feeling tired, right? And changes in appetite. Might be feeling more hungry and eating more often because we're so stressed. But then also we could be skipping meals or missing out on food because we're just too stressed and busy. Some cognitive signs are difficulty concentrating, forgetfulness, having racing thoughts, repetitive or unwanted thoughts, right? Going on in your brain, at times when, it just kind of pops in your head, right? Again, with that, some chronic worrying. There's always, as parents, a healthy level of worrying, but where we're just constantly worried about everything can be a sign. And then 2, impaired speech, so mumbling or stuttering. There's also some emotional and behavioral signs we can experience. So some emotional signs are feeling irritable, sad or helpless or hopeless. The feeling of being overwhelmed is a very common one. There's also the emotional signs of having a loss of interest in your activities or hobbies that you once found enjoyable. That can be a big sign. Restlessness, having, just a negative outlook on things, thinking it's not going to work out or go well, and loss of confidence. And then some behavioral signs are you have a decline in your work performance, You might be kind of isolating yourself socially, not hanging out with your friends as much, or even within your own family, trying to isolate there. Having difficulty completing your just kind of typical daily tasks like the laundry and the dishes and, bills, that kind of stuff. It's hard to do. Poor hygiene, increased substance use, and increased gambling and shopping as well can be some signs that you are burnt out. So if you've kind of noticed that you're feeling or experiencing any of these signs, right, make sure to pay attention to our slides later on, because we're going to be going into some strategies for you to do some self-care and help you with that. Go ahead to the next. So before we get into those kind of tips and strategies, though, we wanted to address the myths or lies that we either hear from others or we tell ourselves when we're starting our self-care journey. The first two myths are it's a parent's job to take care of their kids, not to worry about themselves, right? So the truth with that is parents can only be good at being parents when they're feeling good about themselves, right? And their needs are being met. Elementary counselor here, you can't give from an empty bucket, right? So you need to fill up yourself and get your needs met so that you can take care of others, right? And then the second myth is it's selfish of parents to want time for themselves. And the truth is that's a big myth. And I know a lot of times we can feel that or even feel guilty for taking time for ourselves. But it's definitely not selfish. It's actually the opposite. Doing self-care and practicing that and putting that into our lives and our schedules and routines is helping us to be the best version of ourselves, which helps us to then be better parents and people and great examples for our kids, so that they can, grow and do well themselves. So, yeah. And then we have one more. And the third myth here is I never took time off from being a parent. Why should others need to? And this might be something that maybe you've heard, a comment from or something like that. But really the truth is all of our experiences are different and all of our needs are different. And, one family or parent might need to, have a night out 2 times a week, right? And that's what they need to do for themselves. Another, family might need to make sure that they have, family dinner a couple times a night, so that they're good and they feel connected with others, right? It's okay that we all don't have the same experiences and the same needs, right? And it doesn't mean that we're doing it wrong or the other person is doing it wrong. We all are just unique, and that's okay. All right, so now we're going to kind of get into those self-care strategies I mentioned earlier. The first one it's really important, is you want to carve out your time. You want to make sure that you're setting aside at least 10 minutes, more if you can do it, when you wake up or before you go to bed to read or relax or reflect on the day, maybe have, the same question you ask yourself, kind of thing. I know, for myself, my kids get up early. I'm not going to get up at, 5 a.m. to take some time for myself. So I do it, after I put my son down for bed. And it's just 10 minutes to myself. And that's scheduled in. You also can set an alarm, maybe if you're working during your work time, to have a little mindfulness break, right? Or to get out and stretch. That can be really helpful too. And two, also talking with your partner or a support person about some responsibilities, and rotating that with your support people in your life so that you can take time for yourself and they can also have time for themselves too. The second strategy is to set priorities. You want to remember you can't do everything. And I know it's hard. I'm totally guilty of, trying to do it all. But it can really, really help if as a family or with your support people in your life, you decide what is, our top, even just our top one priority, right? And then giving yourself permission to let go of everything else that's not a priority, right? To get that one thing done or to do that one thing for yourself, for the family, can be really, really helpful in learning to let go. And also with that, trying not to commit to tasks that you can't accomplish, right? We only have so much time in the day. We only have so much, mental capacity. So you want to make sure to decide together, what is our priority? What is my priority? And just do that. Okay. So the third strategy is choose some fun things to do, and you want to schedule that in. You'll find that scheduling things is kind of key with self-care as a parent. So something you like to do, right? It could be going for a walk. It could be, window shopping. It could be taking a bath, right? Something that is simple and doable, something that's fun for you, knitting, any kind of hobbies, doing a puzzle. It can also be a family activity if you like, but choose something that you can consistently look forward to and also build into your schedule. It doesn't have to be this big, we are going to Disneyland. It can be something small and doable, but that's fun for you and that you are going to get some joy out of and that you're looking forward to doing, every week. The fourth one is quality time with our family and friends, right? These kind of go to 3 and 4 kind of go together, but making sure that we're connecting with others. And again, building that into our schedule. Okay. So when we are kind of maybe experiencing some of those signs I went over earlier of burnout or distress, it can be really, really helpful to be in connection with others and have some, fun things to do and have that quality time together. So whether it's, I know on the weekday can be really busy for me. So Saturday mornings, I'm texting my friend and I have like a little reminder text, so-and-so. And it's just a little check-in like, hey, how are you? And sometimes it's, 2 seconds, but other times we're able to have that quality time. And you can do that with your family too, which is really important, setting up family dinners, or like I said earlier, like going for a walk together, just something where electronics are put away, you're talking with someone and spending that time and building that relationship can be really beneficial. So now we have Miss Lauren Reed, who's going to finish going over the last 5 strategies for you guys.
All right, thank you, Brianna. So I will move to number 5, which is allowing people to take care of you. I think as women especially, we are guilty of trying to do it all on our own and not ask for help when we need it, which tends to burn us out a lot faster. In Nagoski and Nagosi's book titled Burnout, they call it human giver syndrome. And it's just the depleting of yourself to give to others constantly. And I think it's important for us to recognize that we can't, that's not sustainable. It's not something that you can continue without experiencing some of the symptoms that Brianna went through. So allow people to take care of you. We all need people to lean on. It's not something to feel guilty about. It's something to embrace and also give permission to your loved ones that they can ask for help when needed. It's important, whether it's a partner, a spouse, a parent, a cousin, somebody that you have that can listen to you and comfort you in time of need. It doesn't mean they have to solve your problems, but just somebody that you can connect with, and that can be really healing and helpful. Number 6, getting out of the house. This one I think is especially helpful for us right now with the past year that we've all endured. Getting out of the house is really important. Going out for a brisk walk can do wonders for overwhelm and helping you to clear your mind. One of my favorite quotes that I constantly remind myself of is Hippocrates. And he said, if you're in a bad mood, go for a walk. If you're still in a bad mood, go for another walk. It really does wonders for your mental health and for your perspective, and gets your heart rate up and really helps you to regulate your emotions. So get out, look at some nature, get some fresh air. If you don't have that option, take a drive, put on your favorite music, go get some coffee, take the scenic route, just get a change of scenery. It can be really helpful. And consider scheduling a night out if you can, with your spouse, with your partner, with a girlfriend, something special that you have to look forward to. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be packing up a picnic and taking it to a nearby park. It can really, really help. Next is pamper yourself. And one of the myths that Stephen went over was that people consider self-care something fancy or expensive, and that's just truly not the case. We treat and reward our kids quite often, and we should get something extra every so often as well. But that doesn't have to cost a lot. It can be something as simple as giving yourself quiet time to take a bath and light some candles, and it's okay to lock the door. It's important for your kids to actually see you taking time for yourself. And if you do have those extra funds, getting to attend a special sporting event or a concert, something out of the ordinary, that can be a really special treat. Or taking a nap, ordering dinner so that you or your partner don't have to cook that night, or getting ice cream, something special, something fun. The libraries locally are starting to open, so go get a book that isn't work related. It's just a fun read. That can be really helpful too. Next is taking care of your health. This is so very important. Making time for exercise and eating well, it does wonders for your mental health. We all carry emotions in our bodies. And when you make time for exercise and eating right and sleep, it really helps you work through those emotions so that you don't get stuck, which leads to burnout. Practicing mindfulness, meditation, yoga. We'll have some resources at the end of this presentation that you can look up some apps that are available that can really help you get in a mindfulness practice. Scheduling annual visits with your doctor. This is so important to prevent illness, to just make it a priority of taking care of yourself, getting your dental checkups and all those annual visits, just to know that you are taking care of yourself. I have a friend who every year on her birthday, she schedules all of those appointments, and it's her treat to herself. I know I'm giving myself another year of health. And I really respect that. I think that's a really cool idea. Number 9 is staying organized and strengthening your space. And our environment can reflect our well-being. I am guilty of sometimes my desk can get a little messy. I'll have multiple projects going on at once. And just taking 2 minutes to tidy up makes my whole system calm down. I'm sure many of you have heard of Marie Kondo, And she often says a tidy space equals a tidy mind. And that's true at home, at work, in your car. It can really help you to feel in control of something, to take time to organize. Also, organizing your time, using the tools and spreadsheets and apps that are out there, prepping dinners in advance so that it's not a stressful thing you're thinking about at 5 p.m. You've already got it figured out. Decorating the space with something that brings you calm, makes you feel peaceful, makes you feel safe at home is really important. Number 10 is planning for your future. So as your kids grow older, you're going to end up having more time for yourselves. And it's a wonderful thing to do, to think about that. Think about your dreams, think about your lifestyle, maybe changes in career or things that you're looking forward to. A simple daydream can really boost your mood. Daydreaming and letting your mind go to a little mini vacation or something exciting in the future, or just something you imagine, actually can bring out those neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine that really help you feel well. And these are some of the types of self-care. They usually fall into these 4 categories. There's physical, emotional, social, and spiritual. So physical includes sleep, and I cannot stress that enough, how important sleep is to reset your system and help get through all the junk of your day. There's a book called Brainwash by Dr. Perlmutter and Perlmutter, and that book emphasizes pretty much all of these, the physical, emotional, social, and spiritual, just rinsing and cleaning out all of the stress and overwhelm that we carry with us. A simple stretch and loosening up your body and your muscles, taking a walk, like I said earlier, anything that gives you a physical release, going for a jog, going for a bike ride with your kids, eating healthy food, doing some yoga, and rest. We often, as I think moms especially, feel guilty for resting when in actuality, we're human beings and we're meant to rest about 1/3 of our life. And so take time to sit and let your brain wander, doodle, draw in on a coloring book or journal. Resting is good, and resting helps you be better for your family. Emotionally, practice stress management, emotional maturity, taking responsibility for your actions, practicing forgiveness and compassion and kindness. They can be really beneficial to you and everybody around you. Socially, setting boundaries, being able to say no when you have too much on your plate is really important. Leaning on your support systems, asking for help, like I was saying. Using social media for positive reasons like connection and communication versus scrolling through social media to compare your life to others and look at people's pictures that really don't end up making you feel much better. So keeping that in check is really important too. And spending time together with people that you enjoy and people that bring you up. Spiritually, spending time alone, meditation, yoga, connecting with your higher power, with nature, journaling, creating a sacred space, somewhere where you can go to be alone, even if that's in the bathroom and lock the door. A sacred space doesn't have to be some zenned out fancy place. So just ultimately taking time for you. And next we have a video from Christy Curtis, who is a mindfulness educator, yoga instructor, PE teacher at Capo Valley High School, and she did a breathing exercise video for us. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Mindfulness educator. 1,447 questions. How many of those that's what we get to do. We're training ourselves to bring our attention back to these.
I don't think the sound is working.
Sorry about that. Let's see if this works instead. Sorry. Let me know if this works instead. Does that work?
Creating ourselves and bringing our attention back to this moment, something that's with us all the time. So it's also awareness of so what is mindful just spending a few moments to breathe and expression. That's what mindfulness is to pay attention.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to see what's going on with the speaker.
So I'll just improv here. Christy Curtis brings an amazing ability to calm you, and we will be giving you guys the presentation after. So if we aren't able to get it to work. But basically the reason mindful breathing is so important is because you can actually calm your brain using your diaphragm. And so when you take a big, long inhale and an even longer exhale, it sets a certain nerve called the vagus nerve in your diaphragm to send a message to your brain that it's okay to calm down. And so this is best practiced when you are calm first, and get a breathing practice going so that you can use it when you start to feel stressed and overwhelmed.
All right, so I'm going to try one more time. I apologize about that. All right, I apologize about that. It's not working. However, it will be in the presentation, so we will make sure we get that out to you guys.
Okay, I will continue with some of the resources that we have. The UCLA Mindfulness Research Center has some free introductions about mindfulness and about meditation, and you can find these in English and Spanish. If you scroll down, there's just a short list, and it's okay to repeat these daily. The more you practice, the better you get. And then you won't need the app or you won't need the site anymore. You can do it on your own. So that one's really helpful. Sanity and Self is a female created and operated app that is kind of a one-stop shop for self-care. This, I'll give a disclaimer. It is free to download and create an account, but it's limited in what you can do on the free, as with most apps out there. And so the premium membership has a ton of resources available, but it is beautiful, and it's a nice one to look at. There are some free resources available on there. Next, the bowl is Insight Timer. Insight Timer has 90,000 free meditations for you. And so this is a really neat one if you want to poke around and look at some of the options on there. There is a Calm app, which is very popular. There is also a premium that you can purchase, but you can do the free one and get access to the daily Calm, which is just a brief 10 minutes or so. It's a wonderful way to start your day. It can just set in a practice for you so that you know when you wake up, 15 minutes before the kids or whatever you can do with your schedule, that you can take that time for yourself, center yourself, ground yourself, and have a wonderful thing to think about all throughout the day. Shine is also daily meditations. There's a premium membership as well, but with the free one, you can get a daily meditation, an article, and a gratitude log. And gratitude is not something that you just have. It's something you practice. And so having something that keeps you in check and keeps you on a routine of actually practicing gratitude, like writing it in a journal or a log, can be super beneficial. Next is the California Parent and Youth Helpline. This is a newer resource that we have. You can connect with people that are trained, that are parents also, most of them, to call, text, or live chat when you're in a situation feeling overwhelmed about some parenting issue or you need help about for your student, for your child. And then Psychology Today is a very well-known resource. There's countless articles and ideas of how to take care of yourself. Practicing self-care can just be reading an article about how to take care of yourself. All of you that are participating tonight, you're already taking care of yourself just by being here and knowing that you're worth it and you're important. So those are the resources. I would also just recommend there's a ton of free podcasts available that help you know how to take care of your body and your brain and manage stress and be a great parent. There's an abundance. There's almost too many resources out there these days. Oh, I see on the screen, I forgot to mention Headspace. Headspace is very similar to Calm in that it has some free meditations and then also a premium membership is available.
Hi friends, I'm Christy Curtis, a mindfulness educator. There are 1,440 minutes every single day. Question to you, how many of those minutes and precious moments are left paying attention to the breath? In mindful breathing, it's what we get to do. We're training ourselves to be bringing our attention back to the present moment with something that's with us all the time. It's with us the moment we are brought into this world, and it's also with us the moment that we leave the world. So what is mindful breathing? Mindful breathing is a great technique to calm and focus yourself when everything seems overwhelming. Just spending a few moments deliberately, paying attention, because that's what mindfulness is. We're paying attention on purpose with curiosity and non-judgment to your breathing can lower your heart rate and have a calming effect on your mind and body. Your breath supports you when we stand and we walk and we move and we play. And again, it's something that can most importantly help regulate a very fragmented and dysregulated nervous system. It taps into known as, it's called our rest and digest, the parasympathetic nervous system, which is right now needs a lot of TLC, nourishment and care. Some benefits of the breath, just by breathing itself, the list is here, but don't take the list and the bullet points for fact. Try it for yourself and see what happens. With belly breathing, this is what we'll be focusing on for the next few moments, where you'll inhale and you'll fill the lungs, the diaphragm will lower, and you'll exhale, the lungs will empty themselves out. With this mechanism, your lungs, your heart start to get massaged. Those are the organs involved. Your diaphragm, a muscle. Think of it as getting muscle toning to your belly in a different way. The focus of attention is to have your focus with your breath, but the feeling you get while you breathe. The mind is going to wander. You're normal. That's human. Each time the mind wanders, you bring it back to this feeling of your breath. That's what mindfulness does. We come back. We come back and we come back with your breath as your focus. You ready to practice? Here we have this image, allowing the feathers to just wrap this word of breathe, feeling the saturation of your breath, swelling and then releasing. Bringing your attention to the belly. This is just kind of the mechanism to get us started. But let's officially find our way to begin. And doing so by planting both feet on the ground and getting your phone out of your hand and placing your hands on top of your legs, maybe in the palms of each other. As you draw your shoulders back, can you take a deep breath in through the nose? An audible sigh out of the mouth. Get a nice and slow, deep inhale breath, filling the lungs all the way into the belly. And a slow exhale all the way to the very end. Repeat this just a few more times on your own. Relaxing the jaw, the eyes, the shoulders. With each breath. One more round. Continue this sequence for as long as you'd like, but just remember the breath is here to support you in everything it is that you do. Trust it, play with it, make it your new best friend every day, day in and day out. So thank you, and give yourself a huge thank you for taking care of you. Again, my name is Christy Curtis, mindfulness educator, wishing you a wonderful rest of your day.
All right, I'm so glad we were able to get that video up and going for you guys. So please take a moment to complete this short survey as we move into our Q&A for the night. You can find the survey link in the chat box or scan the QR code.
So we did not have any questions in the chat box. So I'm not sure if anybody has any questions at this point. Here we have one. Do the counselors offer private counseling to parents? So that is a good question, and I do not think counselors offer private outside counseling to parents, but we can give resources if anybody would need it. So please feel free to reach out to your counselors at your school sites if you would like any resources. I see that Shannon Burnite has her hand raised. Are we able to unmute her to ask a question? Let me see if I can do that. I clicked allow to talk, I believe. Shannon, are you with us? Okay, let me go back to the chat box. It says, the next question is, what options do you have for students as far as counseling? So each site will have a counselor on certain days of the week. And so you could reach out to your school counselors at your school site, and they would be able to tell you what types of groups are going on within their sites currently based on different needs of each site might have different things available based on the need of the students. So I would say reach out to your school counselor at your site. And then for the person who has her hand raised, could you please feel free to go ahead and type your question in. We appreciate everybody who came out tonight. Feel free to reach out to all of us if you have any more questions.